Good afternoon. Live from the WSU campus, I'm Kalai Chalk with Blake Jensen today.
Yeah.
And how does it feel here to be here?
It feels
Glen Terrell Mall.
It feels like coming home. Every time you come to Pullman, it feels like you're coming home, especially if you're a student here. Even if you're not a student from WSU, every time you come here, it feels homey.
Yeah.
Love it.
And what are we doing here to celebrate today? It's the campaign for WSU because the world needs big ideas. Something that was launched several years ago in 2007. And it was an effort to say, what does this university need to do?
Yeah.
What do we need to do to look into the future, and what can this university provide?
And what are the big ideas that are not only going to carry us through the next couple of years, but long into the future, and how we're going to accomplish that, and pretty incredible and exciting things that are happening here at WSU, but then also that money that's going around the world to help projects, which is incredible.
Okay, so you talked about the money. It was a $1 billion campaign. It was a lofty goal, and WSU was able to reach that with well over $1 billion.
We're going to try to say the number?
Yeah, I said, what do you say, 1.065?
$1.065 billion.
Or do you say 1,065,091,919? That's how much money was raised.
She was not a math major here either.
We did practice it.
That was pretty good.
We did practice it, though, before we sat up here, because we thought, oh my gosh, this is well over $1 billion, and that needs to be recognized.
And everybody came together to make a goal happen, and it was really, I mean, we've talked about this a little bit as well. It was late President Elson Floyd's kind of brainchild, was this big idea, this campaign for Washington State University, and he was the one that really got things rolling, and he's the one that kind of kept it going, and now we've reached that goal, and it's really cool that this money is going to be going to help such great programs. The 5 big ideas that that this WSU campaign focused on: food, health, global leadership, sustainability into the future, like we were talking about, and Washington State, what we're doing right here for the state of Washington.
And I think big ideas just really sums it up very well, because that's exactly what they are. When you talk about being a freshman here at 18 years old, you don't necessarily realize the significance of what you are a part of. Eventually, by the time you graduate 4 years later, you feel like part of this family, and you feel like, you know, the whole idea that I bleed crimson blood is true. But we're talking about these big ideas. You mentioned them, all 5 of them, and we're going to start right now with the idea of food. Washington has the second most diverse agriculture enterprise system in the United States.
Yeah, and through research industry partnership, we are creating a food system right here at WSU that is production, competitive, sustainable, and safe, which is critical to meeting the needs of an ever-growing world population, not only here in the United States, but also globally, and that's the big thing.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about that and give you an idea of what that means when we say one of these big ideas was food. Here's a video behind it.
One of them. Agriculture not only feeds the planet, it also is the biggest player in affecting the environment. We need to have more innovative, sustainable farming systems producing sustainable food. We need to think long term. We want the farm to be around for future generations. We want it to be sustainable. And because of that, we've been doing organic agriculture at Washington State University now for more than 30 years.
We believe that being sustainable and being environmentally friendly are actually an easier, better way to do it. But without supporting that kind of research, we all suffer.
In the state of Washington, our research has benefited a number of industries. Apples, I think, would be one. Pears, cherries, wheat, dairy, potatoes, barley and lentils and peas.
There is a renewed interest in young people to learn about this new or alternative form of agriculture. Young people are concerned about food safety, where their food is coming from. We're connecting the dots to understand that this is a new food movement.
This is where this organic smart farm comes in. The first thing we're going to build on the organic smart farm is a greenhouse that will be high technology. The energy is going to come from a new windmill and solar panels. And the greenhouse will not only be producing crops, but it'll be producing tilapia. And it'll all be a closed system where the fish and the crops go together.
I saw the presentation that John did, and I was very intrigued with it because it's the integration of all the farming techniques where they're combining computer science with architecture and with farming. And the thing about the organic is that there's jobs out there. We have maybe 12 former WSU students that work for us, typically out of the ag programs.
I see the farm being a model for our local growers to come and learn about new technologies within organic and sustainable agriculture.
And truly the work that WSU is doing in the agricultural arena, absolutely incredible. And we start right here. One of the events that's going on today here on the Glen Terra Mall, there's free food to the first 1,200 people that come down and check out the WSU campaign event. And I'm using you as an example. I'm sorry to do that, but the bread that they're eating right there, I mean, that is an example, a perfect example in that pulled pork sandwich of the research that WSU is doing here to create not only an agriculture that feeds the United States, but that can also stretch across global reaches as well. Let's come over here real quick and take a look at this display. And these are all here on the Glen Terra Mall. If you're in Pullman, you can come check these out. Very cool what's going on here. This is obviously a very familiar sight around Pullman, the wheat that we see all across the Palouse. And that's obviously the wheat that can help fuel and build these types of sustainable food resources. The cool thing, the research that WSU is doing now, very interesting, finding varietals of wheat that will sustain throughout the year. So now you're not talking anymore about a one harvest per year. You're talking about the potential for 3 to 4 harvests per year. That already in and of itself, sustainability that's going to last not only for one season, but then continue on. And here's just an example. You've got the red hard wheat here. That's the red for bread. That's the red wheat that goes into the bread that we eat here every day. Then you've got the soft white wheat all grown here on the Palouse, and that's what goes towards things like cookies. It gets finely refined down into, of course, the flour that we see every day. One of the other fascinating things that this money is going towards helping is in the food and agricultural department is the Cosmic Crisp apple. This is so cool. This is a variety of apple that was developed right here at WSU, and you can see it right here. This is the Cosmic Crisp, not even available in grocery stores yet, but it will be, and that's what the big project is right now, is getting these trees out to farmers across really the inland Northwest, across Washington State, and then eventually across the country. But Cosmic Crisp, pretty cool because it looks like there's little stars there on the skin. You see that? Pretty neat. Kind of looks like a little starburst on the skin of the apple. These trees, and you can see it right here, from the seedling all the way up to the sapling that gets planted in the ground to start growing into these apple trees, that's all going to be starting to be released to farmers in 2017 once there is enough to meet the demand for those apples. The really cool part is that after 2017, for the next 10 years after that, these trees will only be grown in Washington State. So all the profit of the Cosmic Crisp apple, which you will start seeing in grocery stores after 2017, will be staying right here in Washington State. So pretty cool. All the things that is going into the research here at WSU, that money from the WSU campaign is fueling this, funding this, and helping it get off the ground and really get going and shape the community that we live in, not only here, but across the country as we look for sustainable food sources here in the United States and even across the world. Kalai.
No wheat fields when we live in Pullman, don't we? I mean, we see that once you hit Vantage and you drive over to Pullman. Once you come down from Spokane, we're surrounded by it. But when you look at the significance of it, and you even look at a pulled pork sandwich that they're serving here on campus, and you consider what's inside, and you consider where it came from, and the research that went into all of that, all happens. So much of it happens right here at WSU. So food, the first big idea. What's the second big idea that was launched back in 2007 with this campaign? It was health. And the idea was that health was going to play a big role, an uncompromising pursuit of a healthier world. WSU plays a role in that. It's a unique position to leverage our strengths in human and animal health to realize remarkable contributions to advancing health and healthcare worldwide. And in order to do that, it required the help of so many sponsors, the help of so many donors, so many people who understood what WSU does and is doing, so many people that understood this campaign as we looked toward the future. Specifically, we were talking about people like Bill and Melinda Gates and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They were significant contributors to this idea, this second idea of health.
Sleep research is paramount for the people that work on the ramps around aircraft to know their limits, to be educated on what their limits are. I mean, we know that we have $10 billion in damage, 246,000 injuries worldwide on ramps. We don't know why, but we do know that a piece of it has to be fatigue.
For our law enforcement personnel to be safe, they need to understand all the tools that they have at their disposal, their firearms, their patrol cars, physical tactics. Research and data will help us better train them to use this tool right up here. It's very challenging to do that if we don't have good data, if we don't have good research, if we don't have studies that explain cause and effect. Sleep deprivation, here's the effect, here's your safety.
We're always looking for ways to protect motorists on our state highways. Whether that be commercial motor vehicles clear down to motorcycles.
The research we do, it affects everyone's life.
There's a lot of health-related issues to disrupted sleep and sleep loss. They're not being addressed very well right now.
What I am trying to solve is how sleep loss contributes to the development of obesity. So obesity is a major public health concern, and millions of people are affected.
Sleep or sleep loss, sleep disruption is associated with a whole host of diseases. Is that what's causing type 2 diabetes and this huge epidemic we have of type 2 diabetes?
What we're really trying to design here and develop is to come up with tools that will help people in everyday occupations, in everyday situations. Those kinds of tools will affect everybody's life.
The kind of work we do makes it safer on the roads. It helps the U.S. Department of Transportation determine what the reasonable hours of service rules are for truckers who are driving next to you on the freeway.
If we're putting tired drivers out there, tired drivers are going to be unsafe drivers, and we can't have unsafe drivers on the road. We're not researchers and doctors, so we're depending on them to do the research and to get the simple information back to us, so that leads to safety in our industry.
And one of the other big ideas, obviously, health. And so we have moved down the Glen Terrell Mall. We're right here on the health booth, which you may have been seeing throughout the week as you're walking through Glen Terrell Mall, all these loungers that are nice and comfortable. Come take a nap. That's what they're encouraging you to do. One of the interesting and amazing studies that's going on right now with the health department and through the WSU campaign is actually based out of Spokane, trying to figure out the best sleep that you can get possible, and especially critical when we're talking about people in very critical jobs, our firefighters, our first responders, our police officers, or even more recently in the news, you talk about air traffic controllers, people that have to work a high-stress job, lots of hours, and then maybe not getting the best sleep possible. So there is a lot of research going on right now through WSU in Spokane about just how you get the best sleep possible, how many hours that takes, how deep of a sleep you're getting, and that all is being researched there in Spokane to try to figure out all the things that we need to be the best rested that we can be, and especially in those critical situations I was talking about. So again, you're encouraged to come out here, take a nap after you eat the lunch. Come take a seat and hang out here on Glen Terrell Mall. But of course, health, that's one of the cool research projects that's going on, but health is an everyday thing. Obviously, we all want to stay healthy throughout our lives, and that's one of the reasons why the health and wellness here at WSU is so important. I'm joined by Alicia here at the health and wellness booth, and again, this is an area you can come down, check out, talk to them if you have any questions. But Alicia, talk just generally about how important it is for students to not only maintain a healthy lifestyle, but what they can do preventatively to keep themselves safe and healthy.
Absolutely. Sleep, as you've already been talking about, is one of those really important things. It's also nutrition, exercise, finding a balance in your life. So much of our time as students goes to working really, really hard and pulling long nights to be well at school, but we need to make time that we have just rest, as well as enjoyment and other activities, and that we also have enough education about how to be safe and how to have a healthy lifestyle.
Typically, I'm sure you see a lot of new college students that are coming to WSU for the first time, away from home for the first time. What are the typical problems that a college student coming out from home to an away place for the first time have, and what are the solutions that you guys have there at Health and Wellness to help them?
I think one of the big challenges that a lot of students have coming in is just getting used to the university lifestyle. The demands for class, the demands for social groups, living just outside of home, outside of your parents making your meals for you regularly. There's so much changes. And at Health and Wellness, we offer workshops on time management skills, how to deal with test anxiety, how to just deal with stress in general in your life. And these are some really helpful programs for students where it's a different ballgame than it was in high school. As well as we do workshops on nutrition and how to get a healthy lifestyle in terms of physical exercise, how to integrate that and work that in, because it's going to look different for everybody too.
Yeah, I know college can be a big shock to the system, and a lot goes into that. So again, Alicia here with Health and Wellness, thank you so much. You can come down, talk to them if you have any questions whatsoever. Another part of the big ideas here at the WSU campaign, health, and we're all trying to accomplish that, aren't we, Kalai?
We are. Blake, you look pretty comfortable down there in that lounger. When we first saw those loungers, we thought, they didn't have those when we were here on campus. Then we realized they're for a greater cause, and it's to represent that second big idea, which is health. And we talk so much about what that means. And coming up in the next hour, we're going to have speakers there on the Glen Terrell Mall talking a little bit about these 5 ideas, going into more depth. And we're going to hear from a doctor who says health is not the absence of a sickness. The idea of health is that a person has a good social, a good mental, and a good physical well-being. It's all encompassing, as you heard Blake say. And so that is the importance of this big idea. And of course, if you want to go get your blood pressure checked, if you want to go lounge in the chair, just know that you can do so. It's one of those displays over just outside of the Cub. Now, the third big idea, it's global leadership. And when we talk about global leadership, we are talking about ways that this campus and WSU campuses across our state are leading the way. We are all interconnected. All of these ideas are interconnected, and we have people from around the globe on our campuses. With that said, we also have people from WSU throughout the globe making a difference, impacting others. And the definition of global competency is still evolving. The realities of an interconnected world have clearly arrived, and you can multiply the number of students that WSU sends abroad to establish interdisciplinary academic and research programs designed to expand skills for global business, social, and cultural fluency. That is significant. That is huge. Here is an idea of how WSU is making a difference in global leadership.
The world economies are globally enmeshed.
About 40% of all the jobs in the state of Washington, 40% are related to international trade.
Our ports are a day closer to the Asian markets than any of the other ports in the country. We're uniquely positioned.
If we're going to sell our products, I'm talking about agricultural products, manufacturing products, and if we're going to sell those, we need to be where the markets are.
Hi, I'm Mark Farrell. I'm the sales director here at Sunmoto. We are a photovoltaic racking company. The systems that we make are the aluminum and the stainless steel hardware that attaches the solar panels to the roof. We've got about, I think, 10 employees here in Vancouver.
The company was founded by Tony Liu in 2008, so the company has been around in business for almost 5 years. We are very proud to be part of the green community.
In the last 3 years, we've seen exponential growth.
Brian Weeks, CEO of Silver Creek Capital Management. We're about a $6 billion firm investing in hedge funds and private credit. Our clients are US, Europe, South Africa, and Australia.
Here at Slalom, we are professional problem solvers.
Slalom is a business and technology consulting firm. We work with a variety of companies, from Fortune 500 companies to small startups.
We're looking for people that are really flexible, that can work in a lot of different types of environments, that can work on a team or work by themselves just with a client, who can get in there, understand expectations, and really hit the ground running.
Producing graduates who are able to work in teams, who are able to be a part of communities rather than individuals. is going to be very important moving forward.
The prosperity of the state of Washington is going to depend on having workers who are able to provide both the technical and cultural and communication skills that businesses working in the state of Washington need.
And obviously, as that video shows, WSU's reach is wide. WSU doesn't want to just be a leader in the Pacific Northwest or even the country. They want to be a leader globally. And that leads to the next big idea, of course, the global leadership aspect of this WSU campaign. And this is a pretty cool illustration of exactly that and how WSU is dominating across the globe. You take a look at this map, all of these pinheads represent somebody from that country, research from that country. You walk around this campus and you can find so many people, so many different stories from all different parts of the world. The really cool one here, the blue pins, that's where we've got research and scholarly activity going on. Look at this, just a couple. South Africa, we've got people down there working and researching. West Africa, East Africa, you take a look over in Asia as well, and you've got those blue pins, lots of research going on all across the world, and the WSU campaign, the $1 billion campaign, goes to help further those causes as well. So very cool. We're not only talking about diversity on a campus, which of course is extremely important, but we're talking about WSU being a leader globally, which I don't think there's really any substitute for. And as we've all seen those commercials, WSU is all across the world right now. Kalai.
Yeah, I mean, really, when you go to school here, as you and I, Blake, did, it feels like a small, tight, close-knit community, which it is. But it's so inspiring to see all of those people, all of the people throughout our world who are making a difference, and so many of them got their education right here in Pullman. Now, if you went to school here at WSU in Pullman, there's a chance that you knew a guy named Butch. His name's actually Butch T. Cougar, and the T stands for it's Butch the Cougar in the house. He's joining us with his cheerleaders tonight, or this afternoon. What time is it? I don't know. Butch doesn't care. He's ready to party whenever he's around. Aren't you, Butch? All right, there he is. So excited to have you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks so much for joining us today. We're talking about WSU and the huge campaign, an effort in the last several years to raise $1 billion. We've been able to do that, $1,065 million, and it's been huge. It's been in part because of the great big ideas that so many people have had. We're all different, we're all diverse, but the one thing that we all have in common is that we all love Butch T. Cougar. Isn't it true? All right, so we've gone through 3 ideas. We have a 4th idea. Butch, you're going to help us with this. 4th idea that we launched back in 2007 when we launched this campaign, it was sustainability. Do you want to hear about it? You want to learn more? All right, here's a look.
When I talk to a lot of people about the opportunity of making jet fuel out of slash, it seems almost unfathomable. Because when you look at a slash pile in the woods, it seems so far from an advanced product like a jet fuel.
A forest is a very good way to sequester carbon and then to produce carbon that you can use in a sustainable way. Every ton of renewable carbon that you're taking from a forest and using, you're leaving a ton of carbon in the ground. Forestry is a really good way of doing this sustainably.
What we like to do is use all the parts of the forest for as many value-added products as possible. When you harvest a log, you have the tops and the limbs because those aren't going to go into a piece of lumber. So right now they're left on the land.
When you burn a biofuel, you can emit CO2, absorb it in the plants, and then harvest it and re-emit it. You can do that forever. You're actually using solar power to generate your carbon, which you then emit and then you reabsorb.
The aviation industry is really squarely behind biofuels.
Airlines need sustainable fuels because petroleum fuels are running out. We don't know how quickly, but we know that certainly they are. And in the short term, the prices are increasingly volatile. At least for the coming 20, 30, maybe 40 years, liquid fuels are what we are stuck with. And so we need alternatives, we need sustainable alternatives.
If you look at an automobile, there's a long way to go in fuel efficiency and lightweighting to get your first cut of saving CO2, and then you can bring in biofuels. If you go to aviation, planes are already super lightweight. They've been refined and lightweighted for years. You can't go to batteries and electric planes. The only thing you can do is replace the hydrocarbon fuel from fossil with a biofuel. It's going to end up having to be done.
For aviation in particular, it takes a very high energy density to fuel an airplane. It also takes fuels that will stand up to cold temperatures at high altitude, and we find that actually fuel that is derived from plants can meet those requirements actually better than what we derive from petroleum.
I think this stuff is just absolutely fascinating, how we can take ordinary items and turn it into something that's not only going to sustain us for a couple of years, but really all the way through the long term. And you can see I'm joined by some pretty fun people here. They made their way down from the desk. We've got the cheer squad here, and of course, my main man Butch, hanging out here at the biofuels booth and sustainability booth. That's one of the other big ideas, is that sustainability. How are we going to take our success from today and stretch it across not only for the next, like I said, the next couple of years, but well into the future. And one of the cool things WSU is doing is they're making a way to turn ordinary items into jet fuel. So here's some of the items. And Butch, I know you've been in school for a while. You're a pretty smart guy. You've taken pretty much all the courses here at WSU. So this should be a cakewalk for you. I'm going to give you a little test here. So of these items, point out to me which one is forest debris, forest slash. Right there, nailed it. Nailed it. Nailed it, Butch. Okay, you're 1 for 1, 100%, looking good. Next one, algae. Which one is algae? Got it. Yes, yes, yes. And Butch, I know that you love food. All Cougs love food. Cougars love to eat. Tell me which one of these here is oil, or just normal cooking oil that we use every day. Got it. You know, 100%. You are on the honor roll here at WSU. And then, of course, last but not least, probably pretty easy to guess now because you've deduced everything else, municipal waste, garbage, just ordinary garbage that we throw away. And what is it that WSU is doing with all of these ordinary items? What are they able to create and make? Yes, sustainability. This, for example, is the jet fuel. Incredible that you can turn branches felled in a forest into sustainable energy and jet fuel. I think it was mentioned in the video, but you talk about our fuel sources now. You've got to drill down. You've got to find it. That is a limited and finite resource. Forests, trees, you can grow, you can control, and we can have a sustainable energy source well into the future. So another one of the big ideas that this WSU campaign is going towards, Butch 100% on the test. That's how Cougs do it. Kalai?
Butch is such a good representation of a student here at WSU. However, we must say that Butch has been a student here for like decades. So that might be why he is above the curve. Still though, 100%, I'm not going to take that away from you, Butch. So good job. But yes, so amazing that so many people who went through this university have been able to succeed in so much, including not what they've already done, but what's next as we look toward the future. And we've talked a lot about what's going on campus today. It's a celebration to celebrate raising over $1 billion so that the university can move forward with all of the things that it would like to accomplish. We've talked a lot about those. But now this next idea is specifically about Washington State and how Washington State is going to bring more great thinkers, more big ideas to WSU. How are we going to allow people who are in high schools right now, middle schools right now, and the ability to come to a university? Is it going to be affordable? Yes, it is, and that's thanks to so many donors and so many sponsors and so many people who know that this is such a great place, and so many people who say, I'm going to back that up with my pocketbook. $1,065 million. Here's a look at how Washington State is going to be able to provide for kids for the future.
My name is Casey Callahan. I'm a neuroscience major from Ridgefield, Washington. So I wake up early. I make the trek on the bus, climb the hills and all that kind of stuff. I get through all my classes, and that takes up the good morning portion of my day. And then I'll go to labs after that. Like right now I'm in a neurophysiology lab and I'm in a neuroanatomy lab. I founded my own neonatal health club. We work to raise money for research and other charities. So yeah, that's my day. I want to be a doctor. I feel like it's the most worthwhile thing for me to do with my life. I'd like to first be a naval flight surgeon, go see the world and serve my country. I'd like to, come back, especially to the Northwest, most likely Washington, and give back to the community. At the end of high school, I experienced a personal tragedy with the death of a few of my friends in a very tragic crash. I got very, very internal, and I kind of started to realize what was important to me in life. And so I realized that life was so short that I don't want to spend life worrying about something that to me would seem petty. I kind of feel like saving someone's life or helping to heal someone's pain. I felt like that was honestly the most worthwhile thing I could do with my life. To succeed here, you have to be willing to work. I've seen students a million times smarter than me who are just not motivated and just drop like flies. The undergrad research experience here is pretty much unheard of. Dr. Christoph Chaya, he's been a great mentor. I'm laying down the groundwork to tackle America's obesity problem right now. It's a pretty cool experience that not a lot of people do until they're in graduate school.
A lot of the big ideas with this WSU campaign really focus on the reach of WSU, how far these ideas can go. But it's also so important that a lot of that also stays home right here in Washington State and helps education programs here at WSU, is scholarship driven here. And it's incredible what just a little bit of giving from a lot of different people can do and can accomplish. And what an unbelievable demonstration here. If you haven't seen this yet, you need to come over here just up the way from the library and from the Cub. Right here is a penny wall. This is unbelievable. It was put together to demonstrate that even just a little bit from a lot of people can go a very long way into supporting these educational programs, supporting scholarships, getting more kids educated, and then spreading those ideas all across the state and all across the world. So a very cool demonstration. One of the other things that we want to encourage you to do, if you do come by and see this impressive wall, don't take it home and put it in your foyer because it would look good, but take a selfie in front of the penny wall because it's pretty cool. So let me first take a selfie. And I've got some guests. Come here, let's take a selfie, guys. This is gonna be like the best looking selfie of all time, and not because of me. There we gotta get on selfie mode. Selfie mode, there we go. Woo! Go Cougs, how about a go Cougs on 3? Go Cougs. Pretty cool. Hashtag it, what's next WSU, at WSU Foundation. Get that on Twitter. Very cool. And cheerleaders, thank you guys so much. You guys are awesome. Go Cougs.
Yeah, and talk about a good-looking selfie, Blake. I'm not going to disagree on that one, right, Butch? All right, Butch has joined me back here up at the desk. Butch, you've been in a selfie or two, correct? Right, and they kind of had a competition. You've seen the displays that Blake has been showing over here just in front of the Cub, and it's been a competition, a selfie competition. They've been inviting people to come up and take their picture in front of these displays. He showed you that beautiful wall. It's gorgeous. When we saw it, we thought, how do we get that home? It's an amazing piece of art. I have a feeling the lucky person who ends up getting it is going to pay a lot of money for it. Maybe it'll go to the WSU campaign, right, Butch? All right. Well, we want to let you know we were inviting people to take selfies. They hashtagged it, What's Next WSU, and we had a little competition. We wanted to see the best selfie, and we picked one. And the winner of the selfie competition, get this, Butch, they get $250 to the bookie. That's huge, right? You can wear and grab and buy a lot of WSU Coug with $250 or gear with $250 to the bookie. So the winner is, give me a drum roll, Butch. All right, the winner is Kyle Stallo. All right. Congratulations, Kyle. You are the winner of the selfie competition. And all you have to do is come up here to the desk to get your $250 gift certificate to the bookie. Very good. Now, Butch, obviously, you know why we're here, correct? We are here to do what? Celebrate. Yes, it's huge. $1 billion. It's a huge impact to this university. $65 million. I think the $65 million is significant, don't you? I think so. All right. So, how much have we raised specifically? Let me see that number. $1 billion, $65 million, and let me add, we have a banner here on the Glen Terrell Mall. $65,091,919. So even the person that gave that $19, thank you so much. It is making a huge, significant impact on this university, the people who have gone here, the people who currently go here, and future students as well. All right, again, we want to point out, too, that so many people have given. How many people? 200,000 donors came together to support this big idea. So we are here, we are streaming this celebration live, but of course there is a huge celebration here on the WSU campus. There's free food. 1,200 people have been invited to come grab food. It was the first 1,200 people, got to go have some tasty ribs. And then also there is a giant stage here just in front of Todd Hall. And in a little bit we will hear from significant contributors to our university, big players including interim president Dan Bernardo. He's going to talk about where this idea came from, and you heard it was from the late former president Dr. Elson Floyd. He was the first person to launch this. We're also going to hear from Megan Abundis. She's an intern at KHQ and works with Blake and I, and she's going to talk on stage about her role here as a journalism student. And we also have Dr. Guy Palmer to talk about the Paul G. Allen School for Global Animal Health. Again, I've been mentioning it. You feel like you're just part of this close-knit family, but it's also overwhelming when you see all of the great work that so many people are doing, so many people who have come through here and who are now impacting the world. It's so exciting. Let's go to Blake now, because I mentioned there's this giant stage behind me. Blake is over there, and he's talking to some of those people who are going to take the stage in just a little bit and address the campus.
Yeah, Kalai, that's right. We are here backstage and kind of making that point because you can see all the cool technology that's going into that big screen that we're going to be using as the background here for these speeches and for all of the events that are going to be going on here over the next hour, hour and a half. It's actually pretty cool. We can see ourselves right there. We were watching you, Kalai, on the screen a little bit earlier, so pretty neat. But yes, we do have so many intriguing, engaging, and awesome speakers here with us today, and not really a secret that Kalai and I work at KHQ up in Spokane. Well, one of our wonderful interns is one of the direct beneficiaries of this WSU campaign. Megan, why don't you come on in here? Megan's going to be talking here about kind of a little bit of the global outreach in your speech and kind of what you've been able to do. Talk people through the incredible things that not only WSU has allowed you to do, but the money from this campaign has really helped out with.
Exactly. Through these private dollars, I've been able to travel to all corners of the globe. Last year, I was involved in a trip to London. Last summer, I went to Havana, Cuba, where we broke some news stories, and this December, I'm headed to Nepal.
That is unbelievable. And just to be very clear, these are all journalism projects. Yes. You are going across the world, reporting on stories on a global scale and bringing it right back here to WSU. What is that like? What does that feel like?
It's incredible. The skills gained overseas are just nothing that you've ever experienced before. Getting on hands, dealing with every aspect of these trips have been amazing, and no other experience like it.
That's awesome. Megan, thank you so much. And we'll see you back up at the station, at the mother station. So cool. And I have a feeling she's going to have a pretty impressive resume by the time she's looking for a job in broadcast news. Next speaker, one of the other student speakers that we have today, Carissa, why don't you come on out here? This is Carissa Kaiser. Carissa has a very cool story, and I want you, if you can, without giving away too much of your speech, kind of take us through quickly the bullet points of your story and how you got to not only WSU Vancouver, but then how you got here to WSU Pullman today.
Right. I am a WSU Vancouver student. I'm an HBM major. I've been at WSU for a couple years, and I'm at my last term. I'm graduating this term, and I was short on how much I needed to graduate, and so I applied for this scholarship that was paid for through this campaign.
And it's appropriately called the Second Chance Scholarship.
Yes, it is specifically for students who are almost done, that just need that last little bit to finish their degree.
And the other cool part of your story is that you've always been interested in catering to people.
Yes.
You are a people person.
I definitely am.
You want to make people happy, and you wanted to be in a hospitality business management that would major that would allow you to do that full time, and you weren't finding that until you came to WSU.
Yes, this campaign actually paid for my program. It's only been on the Vancouver campus about 2 years now.
That is unreal. And I have to ask you, because I was a full-time 4-year student here at WSU Pullman.
Yes.
All right, Blake, thank you so much. Joined here again by Butch and his cheerleaders. Blake, I want you to come up here and join me for the rest of this show, because this is where we're going to sit as we watch all of the people that you just spoke with address the crowd from down there in front of Todd. But in the meantime, you need to come up here and keep me company, because I know Butch and the cheerleaders, you guys are busy just one day ahead of game day. We know so many people are coming into town, and so you guys got to go welcome them, don't you? Let me see your most common cheer. Give it to us. Everyone wants to get pumped up about the campaign, but also as we look ahead towards the game tomorrow, right?
WSU, we are WSU. 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 Let's hear it. WSU.
All right, very good. We're all proud to be part of WSU. Blake, he's dragging his heels because he found another friend to talk to behind stage. Blake, who do you got now?
Well, yeah, we're trying to find people back here to talk, and we just did. Mr. Guy Palmer, he's going to be giving a speech here coming up in a little bit. And Guy, talk a little bit about your story here with WSU and with the campaign. I know you're an integral part of the campaign here for Washington State. Yeah, come on up.
Well, I think the main thing the campaign has done for us is we look at what private giving does for us, and it really does three things in terms of scholarship here at the university. First of all, it's foundational. It allows us to do things that would not be possible in another context. Certainly the founding of what's known as the Paul G. Allen School for Global Animal Health is a great example of that, completely dependent on private philanthropic giving. The second is that private giving is catalytic. It allows us to be innovative and risk takers. So rather than following the crowd or working in a current paradigm, it really allows us to be innovative and make the most of our faculty and student opportunities. And the third thing I think private giving does for us is it's inspirational. Yeah. And that is when the public and the WSU community has invested in what we're doing in research and scholarship, it inspires our faculty. There's a confidence and a faith put in them, and they take that very seriously. But it gives them pride in what they're doing and making a difference in the world, and knowing that WSU is benefiting from it.
And you mentioned the faculty being inspired, but I would also imagine that has a snowball effect on even more private donations if people get inspired and see what the university is doing and then know that their money is going to be used for incredible causes.
Yeah, I think that's this concept of it being catalytic. Yeah. It starts something just like a catalyst in an enzyme reaction that then is a chain reaction that goes on. It allows us to build on innovation. It does give other donors, private donors, confidence that in fact we're moving in the right direction. But it also allows us then to work with National Institutes of Health, National Science Foundation, because we've already developed the basic platforms for which we're doing outstanding research and innovation. I think it's also, we've talked mainly about faculty and research and scholarship, but it does have a tremendous effect on the undergraduate experience as well, in that we can provide experiential learning. That is, we have students who are working in the laboratories of some of the world's experts in infectious diseases, and that's very different from just being in a classroom. And when those individuals go and look for positions with a biotech firm or with government or another university, they're able to say, yes, I've actually done this. Yeah. This is how it works, versus saying, well, I took it in a course. It's something very real for them. So that all comes about from this catalysis of private giving.
And Megan is a perfect example of that. She traveled across the world getting hands-on experience in order to take that into a journalism and broadcast career, one of many examples of how that works here. I want to ask you on a personal level, because I know you've had such a major part and hand in this campaign. How proud of you that we reached the goal and that all this money is here for us to use for good purposes?
Well, I think it comes back to this idea of it's inspirational. Yeah. It's more than just the money. Obviously, the money allows us to do things. Yeah. It allows the foundation. It allows the catalysis. But I think it's the confidence, and it's this interplay between what we're doing in scholarship, what we're doing in the student experience, and how that translates in a cooperative and reiterative manner with our community. And our community and our stakeholders are the alumni, but it's much broader than that. The alumni are actually, and those who give to the campaign are representative of a larger public. And that makes a tremendous difference to the university.
Yeah, pretty incredible the way that an organized campaign like this can bring in such positive impacts here to Washington State. Not only, like we've been talking about all day though, not only just Washington State and Washington, but across the country and across the globe. And that's the really cool thing. I want to bring in Megan one more, or rather Carissa one more time, because we kind of got cut off last time.
We did.
But tell me, this is your first time on WSU's Pullman's campus. What do you think?
Well, first of all, it's huge. Compared to WSU Vancouver, this is gigantic. I keep getting lost.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful, and everything here is so amazing. And one thing that I've really noticed is everyone in Coug gear. Yeah. Everyone in Coug gear, which is really awesome to see.
And it kind of goes back to support that. Even though you're at WSU Vancouver, there's WSU Tri-Cities, Everett, all those different locations, but you're all part of one big family.
We're all Cougs.
We're all Cougs. So with that, can we get a go Cougs on 3? 1, 2, 3.
Go Cougs!
Go Cougs. Kalai?
Before, but I'll tell you what, it is such an inspiration. And I think, as you mentioned, Blake, we talk about the big picture ideas, and we talk about how significant WSU's role is in this world, whether it's health research, whether it's food research, whether we're looking at sustainability. But then you also see it go the other way, and you also see that one student who was $1,000 short of making her tuition, and you see this is what that campaign is about as well. It's about helping an individual student make sure that her hopes and dreams are realized, and providing that money to her so that she can get the education she needs to go and make a difference in this world. So Butch is still joining me. So much happening on this campus, Butch. We are sitting here on top of the library where they are serving food. They said, you know what? If you are up here, if you are hungry, come grab some food. And what college student doesn't want to get in on some free food, right? This is good stuff too. We're not talking about top ramen. We're not talking about mac and cheese. We're talking about ribs. So this is the place to be. Of course, as you saw, Blake is behind the stage there, which is set up just outside of Todd Hall. And we're going to hear from some of those students. We're also going to hear from the interim president, as we mentioned, in just a few minutes from now, talking about where this idea started. And it started back in 2007 when the late president, Dr. Elson Floyd, said, this is a great university. It's been great for over 100 years. We've made a difference. But what's next? As we look forward and we plan ahead, how are we going to make a difference in this world? Not just here in Pullman for the kids who come through, and absolutely, essentially providing them that education that's going to allow them to do that, but also big picture ideas. We're helping those individual students, but also how are we going to help this world? And we've mentioned those 5 things. I want to say them again. It's food, it's health, it's sustainability. It's also Washington State and helping that individual student. You were counting for me over here, and I saw you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm missing one. Health, sleep, sustainability. Oh, global reach, that's what it is, and Washington State University. There we go, 5 big ideas that were all successfully reached thanks to the 200,000 donors who have played a role in this. Huge over the last several years. It's been significant. And now we know, thanks to that there's going to be a huge difference made thanks to all of those giving hearts. I think those giving hearts come from the people who have gone to school here. When you walk on campus, when you're 18 years old, you think, okay, I'm 18, I'm here, this is cool. Like, I'm gonna go to Cella's, and I'm gonna go to Cougar Country, and I'm gonna hit up the Crimson and Gray store. But you don't realize the significance of what this community is, and you don't realize the significance of a family until you go here for a year or two. And then by the time you're 22 years old, and by the time you're leaving Pullman, you think, oh my gosh, this is my second family. I can't leave Pullman. And when you come back, you feel like you're coming home. I talked to Blake Jensen about that as we drove down here from Spokane today. And he said, every single time I come down here, I feel like I'm coming home. He graduated in 2007. I graduated in 2002. We were talking about Butch T. Cougar being the longest running student ever at WSU. You've been here for decades, which might be why you got such a good grade on that sustainability test. But you know, there's a history that comes along with WSU, and no matter when you graduated, you know that you played a role in what this university is now, whether it was several decades ago, whether it was last semester. You know you're part of that WSU family. And I think it just means a lot to know that each person plays a role in contributing to this family. And when you're an 18-year-old maybe on campus right now, and you're looking at this and you're thinking, you know, I'm still a little bit homesick. I still miss my parents on the west side of the state. Just know that there are so many people rooting for you. And just know that the WSU band is cheering you on as well. You might hear it right now. They just arrived. We're starting that live show right now, which we have been mentioning, talking about what's next. Let's get this live show started. All right, welcome back. You hear the band in the background, Butch. I mean, you can't not dance, right?
He gets fired up.
Wait, which, by the way, I would like to point out that I have never seen Butch in his professional gear before. He's always in a sports outfit. I didn't know that he rocked the polo and the khakis.
Very young professional.
Right.
You know?
Have you ever seen him wearing the young professional
I don't think
outfit?
so. That probably, it would make a good golfing outfit too. We could have a golf Butch.
He might wear that to the golf tournaments.
Yeah, golf. Yeah, there you go. It's a pretty special day. Obviously, we've been talking all day, all morning about kind of the amazing things that this campaign has been able to afford to Washington State University, to the students of Washington State University, I just love the feel here right now of how celebratory it is. You got the band playing, you got everybody hanging around having a good time, and we haven't even really gotten started yet.
No, we haven't, and that's kind of what we're here to do now as we talk a little bit about that. We're going to get that show started in this main stage here on the Glen Terrell Mall, but we're talking about the significance, you're talking about the celebration, and you mentioned, we've been mentioning the fact when you come here as a freshman at WSU, you don't realize the significant impact that this university will make on your life personally, but then also on the world when you look at the projects that are happening.
Yeah, and that's, just talking to the couple of folks backstage just beforehand, and I'm thrilled to hear them speak and give their interpretations, but the coolest thing is, like you said, there are truly people that are out there doing things hands-on and that are allowed and able to do those things hands-on because of WSU and because of the WSU Foundation and this campaign. And they're not just doing things like around here. They're going all across the world, which I don't know many people or many universities that you're going to have those opportunities.
Well, and you heard about the undergraduates' opportunities to be able to do this significant research, and you talk to people who are familiar with what happens at other schools. They say that doesn't go on at other universities. These undergraduates getting these opportunities.
You're already a leg up on any job that you're going into. You already have more experience than anybody else that's coming in there. It would be like Butch coming in, who's been here for decades and dancing for decades, and then just getting the job easily, just like that, right? You would definitely do better than an untrained Butch. See, there you go. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does.
Same kind of deal. Yeah,
he does. And Blake, we're so excited that I'm so excited that you got to come down here with me from KHQ.
So much fun.
We bleed crimson, just like so many WSU alum will say, students will say. And we're going to talk more about the significance of this as this show gets started in a few minutes from now.
It's going to be pretty incredible. Stay tuned.
Leading by the force of its big ideas, Washington State University is global, conducting research to benefit the world, focusing intellectual pursuits on the most pressing problems, equipping graduates to move across cultures and borders, empowering our communities with the tools of the new economy. As the state's land-grant university, WSU is preparing the next generation of leaders, delivering innovation, discovery, and service to benefit Washington citizens, communities, and industries, because the world needs big ideas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Dan Bernardo.
Welcome to all of you here on campus and to those watching from our urban campuses and from anywhere else in this big, beautiful world. Let's hear the biggest Go Cougs of this still new fall semester. Go Cougs! This is a great day. As I begin, I'd like to take a moment to ask each of you to consider this seemingly simple apple. It does appear to be an ordinary piece of tree fruit. But what if it really isn't so simple or ordinary? How many countless research innovations contributed to it being here today? How many fields of study contributed to its tree's creation, growth, and irrigation? What fields contributed to the harvest, processing, transportation, and eventually sales, so it can be on this stage with me today? Bioengineering, crop and soil sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, natural resource sciences, economics, botany, entomology, business, marketing, communications, and many, many more. How many big ideas coalesced into this simple apple? How many students are studying how to raise it, how to care for it, how to improve it and distribute it? You see, this ordinary apple is really the culmination of an extraordinary journey of discovery. This apple represents the very best of what a top land-grant university is all about. This apple represents all that is extraordinary about Washington State University. And it's only an apple. How many more things do we take for granted in our everyday lives that have experienced extraordinary journeys of discovery? Something to think about as we celebrate an extraordinary journey our university has been on and acknowledge the real impact our supporters have made over the past 9 years. Now, to set the stage a bit for what we are celebrating today, let me take you back to the past. 9 years back, when 150 years of service and the fruits of many, many, many labors, the gears of Washington State University really began to turn. When President Floyd arrived on our campus in fall of 2007, he had the courage to ask, what else must we do? Where else should we go next? Where do the needs of the state, the nation, and the world meet with our unique expertise, skills, and mission? What opportunities are calling to us? What challenges need to be addressed? What are the next big ideas? Because the world needs big ideas. And thanks to President Floyd's leadership and the collective efforts of literally hundreds of thousands of faculty, staff, students, alumni, and external stakeholders, that's when we began to engage across each campus and in every corner of our state a transformative vision for the role WSU must play. The vision included an uncompromising pursuit of a healthier world, advancing a safe and abundant food supply, secure, sustainable, energy-filled living, leadership in an interconnected world, and enriching the lives and livelihoods for all Washingtonians. These were not wild dreams. They come from the core of what Washington State University does exceptionally well and what we value as an institution. Just a couple years after we embarked on this amazing journey, we found we were doing so at a time of unprecedented economic challenge. We were forced to sharpen our pencils. We had to make sure our priorities were the right ones. We had to redouble our focus and be efficient stewards of very limited resources. As a result, we became a stronger university and more responsive to the needs of the people, the industries, and the communities that we serve. So what became our priorities? Remove barriers for Washingtonians to attend Washington State University. Good. We like that. What else? Secure the best and brightest faculty to take our research, our teaching, and our outreach to the next level. Great. And then what? Develop new and meaningful research that will make a tangible difference for all of us. Excellent. Let's keep going. How can we do that? Position WSU to address the needs of our state head on in innovation, Position WSU to address the needs of our state head on in innovative but practical ways. Listen to those we serve, identify challenges and opportunities, and pursue big ideas that matter. And if we do this well for our state, we will be able to do it well for the nation and for the world. Yes, those are some big ideas. It was going to take an unprecedented investment to help us bring our big ideas to life and to keep the wheels turning. How much exactly? 10 million? 20 million? More. 50 million? More. 500 million? More. But we're talking really, really big ideas. Really big. $1 billion big. $1 billion. And that's what we embarked on. The campaign for WSU, Because the World Needs Big Ideas. Because the world needs big ideas, we called upon the enthusiastic and generous participation of our alumni, of our friends, our industry partners, to help WSU build its rich legacy of the past to realize its full potential for tomorrow. In Pullman, in Spokane, in the Tri-Cities, Vancouver, in the Puget Sound, together for 9 years, we pursued the campaign throughout our state and around the globe in the uncompromising pursuit of a healthier world, to build a safe and abundant food supply, for secure, sustainable, energy-filled living, for leadership in an interconnected world, and to nurture an educated workforce and robust state economy. Did we do it? Woo! Of course we did. More than $1 billion. $1,065,091,919 to be exact, which on each campus has supported student scholarships, fellowships and support programs, faculty positions, groundbreaking research, state-of-the-art facilities, outreach and service that benefit our students, our communities, and our industries. Not too shabby for our university's own extraordinary journey. And for all of that, I provide a big, hearty thank you.
Thank you, Dan, and all the work that, thank everybody, really, all the work, all the donors, everybody that has gone into this big ideas, all these big ideas that have now really fulfilled the goal of this campaign.
And we know that so many people who are out here today are specifically played a role in that campaign. Yeah. So we do say a sincere thank you. Yeah. The pledges that you are making are leading to changes in our world, but also to singular students who wanted to come to campus but didn't necessarily have the money to do so, but we know thanks to you they're able to do that.
And that might be one of the coolest things. You run that gamut of that individual student who needed $1,000 more to finish her education and got that through the campaign foundation. And then also you talk about the global reach of some of these programs. You talk about the backpack journalists, that one of them going to be speaking here in a little bit. You talk about working with business leaders already getting that leg up. We mentioned that before. And agriculture, of course, the cosmic crisp apple, all of those cool things that are coming right out of WSU and really changing the world.
Yeah, even specifically the research with programs such as the Paul G. Allen School for Global Animal Health. We know that there is significant work being done there as well.
Yeah, we got to keep Butch healthy.
Yeah. I mean, he's been kicking this long, hasn't he?
Speaking of that, let's take a look at a video here at some of the work that WSU is doing all across the world as a result of the private support and funding from this campaign.
One university, our university, born on the Palouse, but rooted in every corner of our state. Washington State University is taking action from Washington across the nation to Central America, Asia, and Africa, and beyond, innovating to change the world with ideas and research that have a global impact. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Megan Abundis.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today to celebrate Washington State University. My name is Megan Abundis. I am a senior this year studying broadcast news. Now, this career has given me a unique opportunity to travel the world. Through these private dollars, I've been able to go to corners of the world I would never be able to go to. Last year, I was able to go across Europe. I went to London. I went through Paris, reporting on these international affairs. Later, I went through Madrid and Barcelona, studying the culture and the lifestyles of these awesome opportunities through the Murrow College. Last summer, I was able to go with a group of students to Havana, Cuba. This was an awesome experience. We were able to break an international news story with what was then the United States intersection. It had to deal with internet and how the Cuban citizens were using that. My time abroad has been amazing. This December, I have been chosen as one of the Murrow students to travel to Kathmandu, Nepal. Through these experiences, I will be taking my journalism skills and implanting them in Nepal to study the earthquakes and the aftershocks and what we're doing now. Through these awesome experiences, I've been able to grow. As my senior year, I am ready to get out in the real world, and I could have not done this without the private dollars that you've all helped me with. So now, I'm excited to introduce to you Dr. Guy Palmer. Dr. Palmer is the founding director of the Paul G. Allen School of Animal Health, and he currently leads the disease control program in East Africa and Latin America, as well as directing the Robert R. Fast Laboratory here at WSU. Without further ado, please welcome Dr. Guy Palmer. Thanks for being here.
Hi, Megan. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I have a couple of questions for you. Can you tell us a little bit about the work of WSU and global health?
I think it helps to first define what we mean by health. And for this, I go back to the World Health Organization's real original definition of health, that it's not merely the absence of disease or being infirm, but it's a complete state of physical, mental, and social well-being. And if we think of that, we see what WSU already does in this space, that if we thought of a child without the opportunity to go to school, a child or a family that lives in constant threat of violence, we would not say that's a healthy family or a healthy child. So when we look at health in this broad context, instead of just the absence of disease, I think we begin to take a different perspective of it. So WSU has always been involved in this. This is something that's integral to what we do in the public land grant mission. I think then when we look at from a global health perspective, what that means is we're really looking for common solutions. We address, we deal with common problems here and across the world, and so we're looking for common solutions, things that transcend national boundaries. Threats, such as I'll mention in a minute, the Ebola virus disease is something that clearly goes across boundaries, but solutions also go across boundaries. And so WSU has a big role to play in this area.
You mentioned it, but why is this work so important to us right here?
The great thing about making a global health impact is the impacts and the outcomes are actually global as well. So if we take something, as I mentioned, the Ebola virus outbreak, and I mentioned that because that's been current, it's been on everyone's mind, everyone knows a little bit about that. The countries that were hardest hit from that, Sierra Leone, Liberia, and Guinea, had really no health infrastructure at all. Where there had been global health work done through what was called the PEPFAR, started under President Bush, was the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, resulted in there being a minimal health structure in many countries in West Africa. Those countries did not suffer from Ebola virus. So we could see where minimal investments made a tremendous difference in terms of, from a humanitarian perspective, obviously, but also a tremendous economic perspective. I mean, Ebola virus did come to the United States. It also had tremendous impacts. So whether we look at it from a selfish viewpoint of controlling disease in another place is protecting us as well, protecting our health, protecting our economies, or you look at it from a humanitarian viewpoint, protecting other people, it really ends up in the same place.
So who exactly is benefiting from this work and in what ways?
So to use an example, how this comes back to what happens here in the state of Washington, if we look at one of the areas that we focus quite a bit on, which is antibiotic resistance. So it's essentially keeping antibiotics effective against infectious diseases, so that when an individual is in a hospital in Spokane, maybe it's someone who's undergoing cancer chemotherapy, which is a suppressed and susceptible patient, someone who's had a surgery. We want to make sure if they get an infection that the antibiotics work. So the impact is something that happens locally, but if we actually look at where antibiotic resistance emerges and spreads, it's a global issue. It can travel around the world in less than 24 hours. Yeah. So by having partnerships and programs around the world, we're making a difference in other people's lives, but we're also making a difference here for our lives as well.
It's affecting us right here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yep, exactly.
So why WSU? Why are we here?
So WSU, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are a health sciences university. I think a lot of us have really thought of the health sciences as something that's happened very recently in Spokane. But if we look at this broader definition of health, WSU has always done this. WSU has been involved in developing nutritious food, childhood education, how to communicate health risks. We are a health university. And as we look now to where the biggest challenges are in health going forward, if we look at what's called the Sustainable Development Goals, which are being rolled out this month by the United Nations, which are our target goals for 2030, if you look at those and you say, how do these match up with the WSU mission as a leading public land-grant university, you see almost a one-for-one connection, because it has to do with environmental sustainability. It has to do with clean water. It has to do with agriculture that not only protects the environment, but produces safe and nutritious food. It really goes across the board.
It's all right here. So what is it about WSU that made it home for the work of the Paul G. Allen School for the Global Animal Health?
Yeah, it's a great question. The state of Washington is a leader in global health.
Right.
Everyone always thinks of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, but there's really a large number of institutions here in the state. World Vision, which is based in the Puget Sound area. PATH is a leading nonprofit in global health. But there was also a gap in the global health infrastructure when we looked at the capabilities here in the state of Washington, and that was in transmission of diseases from animals to humans. So these really come into three different areas. There are things like Ebola virus, which emerges from a bat and then is transmitted into humans. Something we work a great deal on is rabies vaccination, which is transmitted generally from dogs to humans. It's responsible for over 60,000 deaths worldwide, mostly in children. But it extends into safe food, protecting us from diseases like E. coli. It fits into antimicrobial resistance, and it works into our commitment to deal with the problem of childhood malnutrition, which is generally due to lack of good protein sources. So this is areas in which WSU already had expertise. It just needed to be directed into this global health gap, and that's what led to the foundation investment by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and by Paul G. Allen.
This research is just phenomenal. I'm wondering how the private support played in advancing all these missions.
Well, it wouldn't be possible without the private support, and that's really in three ways. The first is foundational. We would not have had the Paul G. Allen School for Global Animal Health without that support, but it's for many other programs, from student scholarships on. It's foundational. It makes it possible. The second is that it's catalytic. That initial investment allows risk-taking. And universities, and this is from faculty to students and staff, that's where they should be. That universities should be risk-taking. They should be innovative. And that's the catalytic power of this private support. And the third is that I think people often don't think about is private support is inspirational. It's amazingly inspirational to our faculty and students. And that is that you have invested in them. You've made a commitment to them, and that's reflected in what they do. So it allows us, it's amazing when we've recruited faculty to the Allen School, how many weren't here because of necessarily, a salary or a certain lab. It was the inspiration that brought them here.
It's about that change.
Yep.
What is the future of the global health of WSU?
Well, as I mentioned, if we look forward to the Sustainable Development Goals, WSU is perfectly placed to do this. I mean, we're in the right place. Most of the health problems we're dealing with and what are called health disparities, for example, you can predict people's health and life expectancy by knowing their zip code. This kind of thing is widespread. We see it in the state of Washington. We see it nationally. We see it globally. WSU has the tools to address those things, and those are social and behavioral determinants of health. It's education. It's how best to communicate to different groups and influence them to, whether it's to get their children vaccinated. What works for one group of individuals may work totally different depending on their socioeconomic status. WSU is beautifully placed to do this, from food and agriculture, childhood education, communicating health, all the way to what our health sciences campuses do in restorative and preventative health. WSU is marvelously placed to address the challenges of the future.
That's great. Can you talk a little bit about the challenges and the opportunities for the future of the global health?
Well, I think they're going to mainly look at what we have in common. So as an example of that, we've looked at intervention strategies that are used in South King County, have also drawn on experiences of things that have worked very well in parts of India, and vice versa. We have things to learn from other countries. We have things also to provide to other countries. So I think that what we've seen in global health is how we begin to address these common societal problems, how we share those ideas, and I think the missing link has often been the kind of things that WSU does so well. So from our extension models to our ability to reach out into communities, and as we develop that into our health sciences campus, a community basis for what we do, it'll have a tremendous impact.
And WSU is involved in all of these aspects, correct?
Absolutely.
Well, that's it. Thank you so much for being with us today, Dr. Guy Palmer. Let's give it up for a moment last time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Megan.
Dr. Palmer, thank you. Yeah, it's incredible to hear the stuff that's going on out there across the world that starts right here at WSU.
Right, and he paints a big picture too about health. He says it's about a person's overall well-being. It's not simply the absence of an illness, and the WSU research is involved in so much of all of that. And of course, we want to say thank you to Megan as well. She is a KHQ intern, so we are getting a chance to get to know her.
Pretty proud of her.
Well.
That was an incredible interview.
Yeah, I mean, we're going from the research on the health field to the backpack journalist. It's really all-encompassing, isn't it?
And all supported by the campaign, which is so cool that you're seeing the different facets of this kind of on the same stage together, and they've both been beneficiaries of the campaign for Washington State. But a pretty diverse group that we have here at WSU.
It's a diverse group here at WSU on the Pullman campus, but Butch, did you know that there are campuses throughout our state? Where exactly? Do you know?
He's aced his test so far today. There it is. Pullman, Tri-Cities, Everett, Spokane, Vancouver, as WSU just continues to expand its reach, like we said, not only here in the state, which that obviously shows, but across the rest of the world.
And what's neat is that as you hear from other students who are going to school on these other campuses, they're still a Coug, they're still part of the family.
Yeah, and you can feel it. Like Carissa was mentioning earlier, you can feel it when you come to the mothership, if you will. You can feel it. I mean, everyone's a part of the family here at WSU. And speaking of one of those other students at one of our other campuses, let's speak now with Carissa Kaiser.
Hi, I'm Carissa Kaiser. I am the Second Chance Scholarship recipient at WSU Vancouver. First, I want to say how awesome it is to be here today to celebrate this amazing fundraising accomplishment with my fellow Cougs. And also for me personally, to be here on Pullman for the first time. All my life, I have worked in events and hospitality, from concessions at Portland Meadows racetracks and catering at the Clark County Amphitheater and the Red Lion on the River, to my current positions as a line cook in the dining services on campus and as a ceremony specialist at the Abernathy Center in Oregon City. I always knew that I wanted to pursue a degree in hospitality and to be the first of my immediate family to graduate with a 4-year degree. Thank you. This became a challenge for me, however, when I graduated from high school in Vancouver and realized that the options around me were limited to 2-year programs or 4-year programs that didn't have a focus in hospitality. So I really felt like I couldn't find the right program for me. I went to Portland State right after graduation for about 1.5 years, trying to pursue a career in graphic design, but I kept coming back to my passion for events and ultimately decided that Portland State wasn't the right place for me. So I transferred to WSU Vancouver and took undergraduate classes for about 1 year before the hospitality program started being offered in 2013. I remember the day that I first saw the degree was being offered. I knew it was what I had been looking for, and I was very happy. I enrolled immediately and was one of the first students in the program. I want to backtrack for a second to tell a story about when I initially transferred to WSU. I wanted to get some Coug gear, so I went to the bookstore to buy a few things, and the first time I wore my new WSU sweatshirt around town, I got tons of "Go Cougs" shouts. I was so surprised because this was Vancouver. It made me feel like I was part of something bigger and made me realize just how important WSU is across the entire state. So I finally felt like I'd found my home, and now with the hospitality program, it's the perfect place for me to learn and develop the skills that I will need for my career after college. I helped to co-found and am the current president of the Hospitality Business Management Club on campus, and with encouragement from Florian Zach, a great professor who stresses involvement and the importance of the hospitality hours that hospitality majors work in the community, as well as the connections that we make with business members before graduation. These things have helped me immensely to prepare for my future career. But unfortunately, by the time I registered for my last semester, I realized I was about $1,000 short of what I needed to pay for my books and my last courses to complete my degree. I had maxed out my financial support of grants and loans and didn't have many other options. I reached out to my connections at WSU Vancouver, and they referred me to the Second Chance Scholarship, so I applied. I was so happy to learn that I have received this support and would finally be able to graduate with the degree I'd always wanted from a university that has become a huge part of my life. So I graduate this December. And I want to thank each and every donor and faculty member who's helped to make dreams like mine come true every day at WSU. I represent one of many students who depend on scholarship support to complete their education at WSU Vancouver. And I'm one of thousands of students across all of WSU's campuses whose education would not be possible without the investment of donors. Your generosity is improving access to WSU for so many students like me every year. Thank you for helping all of us to realize our full potential as students at Washington State University.
I'm a Coug.
Go Cougs! To be a Coug means to be part of a family and to be closer to the community.
Being a Coug means being a part of something bigger than myself.
Being here is a gift. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm part of a community.
I like that I can go to across the country and I see someone that's a Coug and you automatically feel connected with them. It's like just a go Coug and you're connected.
If you're wearing any type of Cougar apparel, you're going to get a Go Cougs.
They understand the same kind of pride. We're all Cougs.
Everyone's really friendly, like I never feel like out of place.
It's fun, the environment, it makes you feel like a family.
I think the Capital Campaign has been a wonderful demonstration of what it means to be a Coug, that everyone is so committed to help our research grow, to help our students grow.
The insane amount of support from all the donors and anybody involved with improving and building and growing this vision has been incredible to see because of that Coug spirit, to be a part of something bigger and making a difference.
Attracting faculty, it could go to building new complexes, instituting new techniques.
I think they give me $9,000 a year, which is like awesome.
And I just wanted to thank the donor of this scholarship because it helped me to stay here more.
I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for scholarships.
It's really helping out me and my family.
I am a Coug.
I am a Coug.
I am a Coug.
I'm a Coug.
I'm a Coug.
Coug. We are Coug. I'm a Coug.
Go Cougs.
I'm a Coug.
I'm a Coug.
So exciting to see that excitement and to see those smiles and to see those kids' passion for being part of this university. And we know it's because of so many of the people here who are here as part of this celebration today. We know that you have a heart for these kids and for these students here on campus. So again, we say thank you for making those contributions.
And we're all Cougs, and it feels good to be a Coug, and every day of your life that you're a Coug is better because you're a Coug. And Butch, did you have any idea that we had such a diverse student body? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty incredible. And that diversity can pretty much help lead to some pretty amazing people that do pretty amazing things.
Yeah, and when we look at some of the people who have come through here specifically, we're talking about someone by the name of Scott Carson, who has WSU alum on his resume, but he has a lot of other things on his resume, including former president and chief executive officer of Boeing Commercial Airplanes. That's impressive.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. He also serves on the WSU Foundation's Board of Governors, has set a set of numerous college and unit boards and councils that he's sat on as well, and is a generous supporter, of course, of the WSU of College of Business. In fact, the College of Business renamed after him the Carson College of Business.
So, Butch, you're a big deal. Scott sounds like a big deal. Have the two of you met? You guys have met. All right. I mean, you guys are probably going to school together. You've been here forever.
Yeah. You've known him when he was an undergrad. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
All right, so we would like to introduce Scott Carson. He is the chair of the campaign for WSU, and joining Scott is Melanie Thornton, president of the Graduate and Professional Studies Association, or Student Association, excuse me.
That was a beautiful video, and you know what? I am proud to be a Coug too.
Boy, I sure am also. And as chair of this incredible campaign, I've had the front row seat to see the amazing results. Let's take a quick tour, a tour of WSU's impact here and beyond.
Faculty and researchers at the Paul G. Allen School for Global Animal Health are working in places like East Africa to trace and control the spread of zoonotic diseases among humans and livestock.
All across the globe, in Australia, in Chile, South Africa, Jordan, Ireland, Iceland, Cougar engineers are gaining invaluable experience through the Voiland College of Engineering and Architecture's International Study Program. In Vancouver, more than 25,000 donors made investments that improved student access, supported faculty in their research, and created real connections with the community it serves through programs like the Business Growth Mentor and Analysis Program.
In the Tri-Cities, investments from St. Michel Wine Estates and the rest of the state's $8.6 billion wine industry constructed the most advanced wine science center in the world. And a landmark $18 million gift from Cadleck Medical Center will create 5 new endowed nursing faculty positions on the campus to meet the region's growing demand for highly trained nurse practitioners. WSU researchers are also leading the development of safe, reliable, and cleaner burning alternatives to petroleum fuels. Through partnerships like Weyerhaeuser, Boeing, and Alaska Airlines, and others, we are already testing jet fuel made from logging wood waste and other sources.
At Prosser and Wenatchee, Washington's tree fruit grower and industry partners have invested $32 million in WSU to create an endowed faculty positions and endowed research support that will enhance the development and evaluation of cutting-edge technologies and practices, ensuring that the state's tree fruit industry is the world leader for decades to come.
Robust support from WSU's nursing, pharmacy, and other health sciences programs based on our Spokane campus bolstered WSU's healthcare research and education. It has also helped to build the foundation for public and private support on which WSU will now create a fully accredited medical school.
And finally, here in Pullman, where do you begin? Facility improvements campus-wide, including the construction of the Paul G. Allen Center for Global Animal Health, and the PACCAR Environmental Technology Building. Generous support to our libraries to continue the digitalization to allow greater access by more people, and remarkable support towards the planned art museum facility. Support for study abroad is one of my passions, and other programs that enable our students to explore new places and cultures and enjoy the perspectives and changing experiences. Expansion of WSU's organic farm to become the largest organic teaching farm on a university campus in this country. And finally, the Alumni Association memberships that support scholarship and career building opportunities university-wide. Support for Cougar Athletics opened doors to hundreds of student athletes as they pursue their education. It also contributed to the renovation of Martin Stadium and the Bailey Brayton Field.
In proud recognition of outstanding support, the College of Business and the College of Engineering and Architecture were renamed.
Across all the campuses, scholarship support, fellowship support topped $154 million, with an additional $184 million committed to future gifts to help make a WSU education more affordable for more students for years to come.
Private support for WSU's remarkable faculty and their research surpassed $383 million, helping to fuel the innovations and discoveries that will improve the quality of life for all of us. And more than $344 million was raised to support the programs and facilities that make WSU a remarkable university with real impact across our state and beyond.
These are just a small sampling of the amazing big ideas that have taken flight with the help of private investment, gift, and industry partnerships during the campaign for WSU. In fact, literally thousands of areas across all of the colleges and campuses and programs benefited from the private support coming from this campaign. When President Floyd kicked this campaign off, did we really think it was possible? Those of us that were there said, yes, sir. We agreed in theory. But it was you, and you, all of you, that really made this happen, and for that we're ever grateful.
You, the more than 206,000 generous alumni, friends, faculty, staff, parents, and industry partners who made nearly 820,000 gifts from $1 to millions of dollars.
You've invested in our students studying across the state and abroad.
You've invested in our faculty, in existing programs, and created new ones that will be game changers for our university and for the communities that we serve.
You've enabled exciting research in biofuels, agriculture, veterinary medicine, health sciences, STEM, education, and so much more.
You've improved our infrastructure that are home to our classrooms, laboratories, and extracurricular pursuits.
You've empowered the big ideas that are making a difference for all of us across this state and for countless people around the globe.
Everyone who participated in this campaign, as donors, as volunteers, as faculty, staff, and students, share a common value: that quality and practical education, research, and service are important to our state's future.
Today, our state is crimson and gray. Thank you for showing the colors. This today is a better world than it was thanks to everything you have done to bring big ideas to life here at Washington State University. And we're proving every day that when Washington State University takes on a challenge, it will make a big impact. And you are driving that impact. Thank you all so much.
And go Cougs!
Go Cougs!
Thanks to the support of Cougs everywhere, we are addressing challenges across the globe. Health, food, sustainability, global leadership, Washington State. And that's just the start. There's more to do. more opportunities for discovery, and so much more to come. What's the most important day for Washington State University? Tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Gardner.
That is a big screen. Could we pull that video up, though, one more time, what we had on there before? The most important day at WSU. I believe this, but this place has really made me believe it. Here we are, a public university that has just raised $1.065 billion of private support. Now, why would 206,000, almost 250,000 people do that? They do it because philanthropy is magic. The impacts it have been powerful. You just heard about them from the previous speakers. You've heard about them in the meetings. Washington State University, these gifts have been transformational. It's been a game changer. A game changer for who? Let's think about that. It's been a game changer for the faculty that you've heard from. The faculty and their research and their teaching and the impact they have on these students that are walking around here. It's been a game changer for the students themselves. Making WSU their own, many of them with scholarships, and the gift that keeps on giving, going on and on. It's been a game changer for our communities. Think of the impact that WSU has had on these communities. It's been a game changer as we train the next generation of teachers and veterinarians and engineers and farmers and entrepreneurs and scientists and nurses and pharmacists and soon medical physicians. It's been a game changer for all of us. And you know what? This game changer has inspired even more partnerships, both public and private. They're watching us in Olympia and in communities and in companies around the world. These kinds of partnerships are the future of what this place is all about. Our friends in industry, the people in D.C., as well as Olympia, they all have seen what we've accomplished. They've been watching. And they see the foundation that we've laid for the future. This foundation of big ideas has surfaced the grand challenges. The grand challenges that will serve as our priorities for this institution in the days and the decades and years ahead. Today, we really celebrate that success, the success of this historic fundraising effort. But I'm also here to be the end of this program, but also to say this is not the end of what we're doing. This is just the beginning. That's why I say it again, the most important day at WSU is tomorrow. We're ready to fuel those pursuits. We're ready to take the support and the energy that you've given us, that future supporters are going to give us, and help empower what's next at WSU. And we'll be successful, and we will be successful. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy. This was not easy. But when we're successful, we're going to go and fuel, just like President Floyd used to say. If we do it here, and we do it in this state, and it works in this nation, and then it works in this world. How many times did we hear him say that? And that's just what you of Cougs have done, and you've demonstrated that in this campaign. So to all of our generous alumni that are here and not here, to our friends, the students, and it's so fun to watch them walking around. I remember when I was a student, I'd wonder what the heck was going on here. To the faculty, the staff, our corporate partners, the volunteers, everyone who made this campaign possible, we're here to say thanks. We're here to close this campaign. We're here to start and look for tomorrow. So thank you. Now I'm going to do what the most important thing to do is. When we do most events at WSU and end it, is to bring on the Washington State University Marching Band.
And that concludes our webcast. It was such an awesome celebration. You see Butch behind us. He's got to get in on the celebration as the WSU band plays out what just took place on the stage here on the Glen Terrell Friendship Mall, which was a compassionate thank you to the 200,000 donors who have given generously, raising $1.065 billion for this university.
Yeah, pretty special. We all know that Pullman's a special place, but feels extra special on a day like this. And just to know how much support is really out there, how many people there are out there across the country and across the globe that are supporting all of these big ideas that are going to help thrust WSU forward for years and years to come.
And on behalf of myself and Blake Jensen, KHQ, but also WSU alum, we thank you so much for having us down here to be part of this celebration.
And Butch says thank you too. Have a good one.